a small misunderstanding. No, this feels calculated, quietly calculated. The energy around this woman feels sneaky, bitter, watchful. Like she smiled in certain moments, acted normal in certain moments, maybe even tried to look innocent, all while carrying something heavy in her heart toward you. The first card I'm seeing here is the Seven of Swords. And wow, this tells me right away that there was strategy involved, hidden motives, somebody doing things behind the scenes, not wanting to be fully seen for what they were doing. This woman may have thought she was clever. She may have thought she was being subtle. She may have thought no one would connect the dots. But Spirit is saying very clearly, nothing stayed hidden, maybe from people at first. Yes, but not from the divine, not from energy. And right beside that, I'm seeing the Queen of Swords in reverse. So what I'm getting from this is a woman who became sharp in the worst way, cold, critical, maybe jealous, maybe deeply offended by your presence for reasons that had more to do with her own issues than anything you actually did. I feel like this is someone who can be very calculating with words too. The kind of person who knows how to imply things, twist things, plant ideas, and then step back like she did nothing. Because here's the thing, I keep hearing that she underestimated you. She underestimated your protection. She underestimated your intuition. She underestimated how much would come back around. And that is where the trouble starts. The next card I'm seeing is Justice. And oh my gosh, this is huge. Because this is not random consequences. This is not bad luck. This is not a coincidence. This is balance being restored. This is truth moving back into place. So whatever this woman thought she set in motion against you, I feel very strongly that it is circling back toward her now. And for some of you, this may already be happening. You may be watching cracks form in her life, watching confusion build around her, watching things not go the way she expected. I'm also getting that she may have involved other people or at least tried to influence other people. I'm seeing the Three of Cups in reverse, which can be gossip, cliques, whispering, side conversations, fake support, smiling in your face, and then speaking differently when you are not there. So for many of you, I do not feel this woman acted alone energetically, even if she was the main source. I feel she liked having witnesses, listeners, little alliances, people to nod along so she could feel justified in what she was doing. But the interesting thing is, I do not feel those alliances are holding the same way now, because the next card coming through is the Tower. Because the Tower says whatever was built on lies, envy, manipulation, or hidden agendas cannot hold. It cracks, it falls, it gets exposed, it turns on itself. So this woman being in big trouble, I do not even feel that is dramatic wording. I feel that is the energy. Because once Justice and the Tower start showing up together, that tells me somebody's false structure is coming down. A plan is failing, an image is failing. Spirit keeps showing me that part of her trouble is internal too. The guilt, the paranoia, the fear of being found out. Now I'm also seeing the High Priestess around you, and I love this because it tells me you may have felt this before you had proof. You may have sensed something was off. You may have picked up on a strange vibe, a hidden hostility, a weird smile, a backhanded tone. And maybe at times you questioned yourself. Spirit is saying, no, you were reading the energy correctly. Your intuition was not wrong. I feel that bothers this woman on some level too, because whether you confronted her or not, your energy was never fully available to be fooled. You may have gone quiet, pulled back, stopped explaining yourself, stopped giving access, and I feel like that made it harder for her to control the narrative around you. The final card I'm seeing for this first part is the Five of Pentacles, and this tells me she is entering a season of loss, isolation, or being left unsupported in some way. For some of you, this may be emotional. For others, social. But the point is, the energy she sent out is not multiplying into success for her. It is draining her, weakening her, leaving her exposed. So the biggest message for this first part is this. Yes, there really was a woman against you, but she is not getting away with it. The energy here is very clear that consequences are building, truth is correcting itself. And what she meant for your downfall is beginning to create trouble in her own life instead. Now, what keeps coming through here is that this woman did not only move from jealousy, she moved from obsession, because jealousy can stay passive for a while. But obsession starts watching, comparing, reacting, plotting, trying to interfere. And that is exactly what I feel happened here. This woman did not simply dislike you. She focused on you. She measured herself against you. She let your presence get under her skin in a way that became unhealthy. The first card I'm seeing here is the Page of Swords in reverse. And wow, this is strong because this is watchful, immature, invasive energy. Somebody peeking, checking, gathering information, misreading things, and building stories in their head. I feel like this woman spent way too much time trying to figure you out, keep tabs on you, or monitor what you were doing. For some of you, yes, this could have been social media. For others, this was through mutual people gossip, watching your reactions, asking indirect questions. And the thing is, none of that watching brought her peace. It fed the problem. Because the more she watched, the more triggered she became, the more she compared, the more bitter she became, the more she focused on you, the more she lost her own center. And that is a huge part of why she is in trouble now. The next card coming through is the Nine of Swords, and Spirit is showing me that this woman is not sitting comfortably in what she did. No, there is anxiety here, restlessness, stress, sleepless thoughts, spiraling. She may be acting normal on the outside, but internally I feel she is being eaten up by fear, guilt, panic, or the mental pressure of trying to hold together something that was never built on clean energy. Because when somebody sends out manipulation, lies, envy, or hidden attacks, they do not just harm others, they poison their own inner world. I'm also seeing the moon in reverse, and that is huge because it tells me what was hidden is becoming harder to hide. Secrets are thinning out, illusions are weakening, confusion is lifting. So if this woman thought she could keep everything buried, denied, covered up, or made to look innocent forever, Spirit is saying not anymore. The mask is slipping, the truth is pressing upward, and even if every single detail is not publicly exposed yet, energetically the cover is breaking. I keep hearing that she is making mistakes. Now sloppy mistakes, emotional mistakes, desperate mistakes, because fear makes people clumsy. And I feel like the pressure building around her is causing her to reveal herself more than she realizes, maybe through her reactions, maybe through contradictions, maybe through the people she trusted. The next card I'm seeing is the Six of Pentacles in reverse, and that tells me this woman may also have been taking more than she was giving in multiple areas of life, using people, using information, using access. Using sympathy, there is an opportunistic quality here. It feels like somebody who wanted advantage, wanted control, wanted a better position, and thought stepping on you or quietly working against you would somehow help her get there. But Spirit is showing me very clearly that imbalance is now being corrected. When this card turns like this, it can show debts, energetic debts, moral debts, spiritual debts, and I feel like she owes now. Then we have the Five of Wands, and this tells me conflict is building around her, tension, friction, competition turning ugly. For some of you, I really do feel the very energy she threw toward you is now turning back into her environment. So she may be dealing with drama in her circle, distrust among people she thought were on her side. And the interesting thing is, I do not feel you need to force any of this because the card around you here is Temperance, and I love that for you because it says your protection is strengthened by your restraint, by your balance, by not becoming like her. Spirit keeps saying, do not lower yourself to match this woman's methods. You do not need to chase, prove, expose, or scramble. What is already in motion is bigger than personal revenge. It is divine correction. The final card I'm seeing here is Judgment. And wow, that is the closing stamp on this part. Because this means reckoning. Wake up call, consequences, truth rising. What was done in the dark meeting a louder light. This woman may have thought she had more time, more cover, more control, but Judgment says the season of delay is ending. So the biggest message for the second part is this woman became obsessed, invasive, and imbalanced in the way she focused on you. And now that very energy is unraveling her peace, her image, and her sense of control. She is in trouble because what she sent out did not disappear. It stayed alive, and now it is returning for balance. What is coming through very strongly now is that this woman did not understand who she was dealing with spiritually. She thought she was targeting an easy situation. She thought she was interfering with somebody she could weaken, confuse, isolate, or quietly push out of position. But the energy here is saying she miscalculated badly. Because there is protection around you, and there is also a very serious consequence building around anyone who knowingly tried to work against you from a dishonest place. The first card I'm seeing here is the Queen of Wands in reverse. And wow, this is a woman who wanted power, attention, or control, but went about getting it in a very distorted way. She wanted to outshine, outmaneuver, or somehow replace you. I feel a lot of envy in this energy, not admiration, not harmless comparison envy, the kind that becomes heated, personal, the kind that makes someone look at another person's light and decide they would rather dim it than heal their own darkness. And that is exactly where her trouble begins. Because the next card coming through is the Wheel of Fortune, and this is huge. This tells me the cycle is turning now. What she sent out is no longer moving only in one direction. It is coming back around. The wheel is moving, and it is not moving in her favor. So if she thought she had the upper hand, the better timing, the stronger influence, or the final word, Spirit is saying the season has changed. The current has shifted, and the very things she tried to control are becoming the things she cannot control anymore. I'm also seeing the Eight of Swords around her, which tells me she is starting to feel trapped by her own choices. This can be mental pressure, fear, overthinking, panic, and a growing sense that she cannot easily undo what she set in motion. For some of you, she may be trying to keep up appearances while inwardly feeling very cornered, because once a person starts lying, scheming, manipulating, or turning others against someone, they usually have to keep feeding that lie. And that becomes exhausting. It becomes a prison. It becomes its own punishment. I keep hearing that she is running out of clean moves. That is important. Because before, she may have felt clever, before she may have felt ahead, before she may have felt hidden, but now her options are getting smaller, her space is getting tighter, her confidence is cracking. The next card I'm seeing is the Devil, and this tells me there may have been something deeply toxic behind her motive: control, obsession, competition, bitterness. A need to win at all costs. I do not feel this was clean disagreement. I feel this was ego mixed with shadow, and that combination is dangerous because it makes a person justify ugly behavior. Spirit keeps showing me that she told herself a story to make what she was doing feel acceptable. But the story is collapsing now. The justification is weakening now. And what remains is the truth of the energy she chose. I'm also seeing the Seven of Wands around you, and I love this because it says you are protected, defended, and held in higher ground spiritually. Even if you have felt tired, even if you have felt attacked, even if you did not fully understand what was happening at first, the energy around you is not weak. It is guarded. It is backed. So this reading is not showing me your downfall. It is showing me your resistance and her consequences. Then we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And this is very telling because it shows plans not working, cooperation breaking down, people not staying aligned, bad teamwork, weak foundations. So if she thought she had support, allies, or people helping her maintain a false narrative, I do not feel that support is stable now. Things are slipping. Trust is slipping. The structure she tried to build against you is not holding together. The final card I'm seeing here is the Sun. And that is such a strong ending for this part because it means exposure, clarity, illumination, and truth coming into full light. What was shady does not stay shaded. What was hidden does not stay hidden. What was sent toward you in darkness meets revelation. And for this woman, that is a very serious problem. So the biggest message for this third part is this woman acted from envy, toxicity, and a false sense of power, but the cycle is turning against her now. Her options are narrowing, her plans are weakening, and the truth is coming closer to full exposure. She is in trouble because she mistook your silence for weakness and your grace for lack of protection. She was very wrong, and Spirit keeps saying, let the truth do its work. Let the wheel turn. Let what is unstable fall by own weight. You do not need to force what divine timing is already handling. Her own choices are testifying against her now. That is why this feels final. What is coming through now very, very clearly is that this woman is beginning to feel the collapse not only around her, but inside her. And that is important. Because sometimes when people plot, lie, manipulate, or try to work against somebody in secret, they think the greatest danger is being exposed publicly. But Spirit is showing me that for this woman, the internal unraveling is already punishment. The fear, the agitation, the inability to relax, the growing sense that things are slipping beyond her control. It is all here. The first card I'm seeing is the Ten of Swords. And wow, this is heavy because this tells me the energy she sent out is reaching an ending point, a painful one. Not because you are doing anything back to her, but because the path she chose has consequences built into it. Betrayal energy always destroys trust. Manipulation always carries a cost. Hidden malice always poisons the one carrying it, and I feel like she is experiencing that now in a very personal way. Something is ending for her, an image, a plan, a connection, a strategy, a false sense of control, whatever it is not staying intact. Then right beside that, I'm seeing the Five of Cups, and this says regret, loss, emotional heaviness, looking at damage and knowing it cannot simply be erased. For some of you, this woman may never fully admit what she did out loud, but I do feel she knows. Spirit is showing me that on some level she knows what she touched, what she distorted, what she interfered with, and what she set in motion, and now she has to sit with that. I also feel that part of her big trouble is isolation, because the next card coming through is the Four of Cups in reverse, and what I get from this is that she is no longer comfortable in her own environment. The things that once distracted her are not working the same way. The people she once leaned on may not be giving the same support. The emotional numbness she may have used to protect herself is cracking, so now she has to feel more, see more, face more, and that is uncomfortable for someone who kept trying to operate from denial. The next card I'm seeing is the Six of Swords, and this is interesting because I do think some part of her wants escape, wants distance, wants a way to quietly move on without having to answer for anything, but Spirit is saying it does not work like that. She cannot outrun what has attached itself to her through her own choices. She may leave a room, leave a conversation, even leave certain people behind. But the lesson follows. The consequence follows, the energy follows. That is why this trouble feels so real. Now the card around you is the Empress, and I love this so much because while she is shrinking inward through fear and collapse, you are still protected in your worth, still held in your light, still being restored. And I think that is part of what infuriated her to begin with. You carry something she could not steal. Something she could not imitate, something she could not break. She may have tried to disturb your peace, but your essence remained yours. And now, Spirit keeps showing me that the more you stay connected to your value, the less any of her energy can reach you. Then we have the King of Cups in reverse around her, and this shows emotional instability, suppressed feelings. Emotional manipulation backfiring. Someone who cannot regulate what is rising in them. So if she seems moody, reactive, withdrawn, overly defensive, or strangely fragile right now, I would not be surprised. Her inner world looks turbulent. She may be trying to hold it together outwardly, but inwardly there is a lot of disorder. The final card I'm seeing here is the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And this is important because it shows blockage, missed opportunity, loss of footing, and something not being able to take root the way she expected. So whatever she thought she was building through deception, it is not stabilizing. It is failing to land, it is failing to hold. So the biggest message for this fourth part is this woman is in big trouble because her own choices are now collapsing inward on her. Regret, emotional instability, blocked outcomes, internal pressure, and the inability to escape consequence are all showing up strongly here. She thought the damage would stay with you. Spirit is saying no. The collapse is returning to the source now. And Spirit keeps repeating one thing very strongly here. She is being made to sit with herself now. No distractions, no smooth cover story, no easy exit, just the echo of what she chose. And that, more than anything, is why this trouble feels deserved. Because the truth is not only coming near her, it is entering her own mind, her own emotions, her own daily reality. She is not untouched by what she did. Not at all. Now, what is becoming very clear here is that this woman is not only facing fallout, she is facing reversal. And that feels different, because fallout is damage after the fact. Reversal is when the very force she tried to send outward starts moving back toward her in a direct and unmistakable way. That is exactly what I feel now. Her words, her intentions, her manipulations, her jealousy, her hidden actions, they are not staying attached to you. They are returning to the place they were generated from. And that place is her. The first card I'm seeing here is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. And this tells me the plan was flawed from the beginning. She may have thought she was being careful, but Spirit is showing me sloppiness underneath it all. The energy was never clean enough to succeed. So even if she had moments where she thought she was getting ahead, I do not feel that anything she built against you was built well. It was unstable because it came from a corrupted place. Then right beside that, I'm seeing the Seven of Cups in reverse, and wow, this is illusion breaking. Delusion clearing, fantasy collapsing. So I feel like this woman may have convinced herself of many things. She may have told herself she was justified. She may have built stories. She may have assumed she could control how others saw you or how a situation would turn out. But that haze is lifting now. The truth is becoming harder for her to avoid. What she imagined she could maintain is slipping out of her hands. I'm also seeing the Five of Swords, and this is such a direct card for ugly winning, petty conflict, and the kind of energy that wants victory even if it creates damage. This tells me her mindset was off. She was too willing to create hurt if it meant she got to feel powerful. But the Five of Swords always carries a warning. The so-called victory is hollow. The person who wins this way loses more than they understand. And that is what Spirit is showing me now. She may have chased control, but lost peace. She may have chased attention, but lost respect. She may have chased your downfall, but created her own. The next card I'm seeing is the Four of Swords in reverse, and this says she cannot rest, she cannot settle, she cannot calm herself. There is nervous pressure here, mental agitation, the feeling that something is not right because something is not right. You cannot attack from shadow and then expect your spirit to remain quiet. You cannot operate through hidden spite and expect inner stillness. It does not work like that. Her own energy is disturbing her now. The truth may show through her reactions, through over-defensiveness, through inconsistency, through emotional outburst, through the way she handles pressure. Because when someone is carrying guilt, fear, and a collapsing lie, they often reveal far more than they mean to. It is like every nervous move she makes now keeps telling on her, even when she is trying hardest to look untouched still. The card around you here is the Star, and I absolutely love this because while she is moving through reversal, you are moving through restoration healing, renewal, protection after strain. So if this situation drained you, confused you, or made you question yourself for a time, Spirit is showing me that your light is recovering, your clarity is recovering, your peace is returning, and I feel that bothers her too on some level because she may have wanted your confidence broken. Instead, the attack is folding back while your spirit is being replenished. Then we have the Knight of Swords in reverse around her, and this is messy, impulsive, reckless energy. Somebody making the situation worse by reacting badly, saying too much, moving too fast, trying to defend themselves, and only creating more suspicion. So if there is a moment where everything begins unraveling quickly, I would not be surprised. This woman looks like she could panic and create even more damage for herself. The final card I'm seeing here is the Hierophant, and this is important because it shows spiritual law, moral consequence, and a higher order correcting what was distorted. This goes beyond personal opinion, beyond social drama, beyond he said, she said. This is about alignment and misalignment, and Spirit is making it very clear which side this woman placed herself on through her own behavior. So the biggest message for this fifth part is this. The woman who plotted against you is now experiencing reversal. Her lies are weakening, her illusions are breaking, her peace is disturbed, her behavior is exposing her, and the very energy she sent out is failing to hold. Meanwhile, you are being restored. She thought she was steering the outcome, but spiritual law has entered the situation now, and that is why her trouble is becoming impossible to avoid. And the final thing coming through here is that this situation has reached the point where Spirit is no longer only warning. Spirit is closing the case. That is exactly how this feels. Like the lesson has ripened. Like the truth has gathered enough weight. Like the energy this woman sent out has now completed its circle and is arriving back at her door in a way that cannot be ignored anymore. So yes, this really does feel like big trouble, not exaggeration, not drama consequence. The first card I'm seeing here is Judgment, and wow, this is the card of reckoning, the card of the wake-up call, the card that says what was buried rises, what was denied speaks, and what was delayed is now being answered. So what I'm getting is that this woman is entering a period where she has to face what she did on a much deeper level, not just socially, not just emotionally, spiritually, morally, internally. There is no more easy escape route here, no more pretending she did not know better, no more hiding inside a false story about why she did what she did. Then right beside that, I'm seeing the 10 of Wands, and this tells me the weight is heavy. Now, she is carrying pressure, stress, responsibility, and the burden of choices that are no longer light enough to ignore. For some of you, this may show up as visible strain in her life, delays, complications, tension, things becoming harder than they were before. For others, it is more internal, but either way, the message is the same. She is not moving freely anymore. What she created is sitting on her back now. I'm also seeing the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. And that is huge because it shows disappointment with outcomes, wasted effort, and the painful realization that what she invested in is not growing into what she hoped. So if she thought plotting against you would elevate her, protect her position, strengthen her image, or somehow make her feel more powerful, Spirit is saying the opposite is happening. Her energy did not produce blessing. It produced depletion. It produced delay. It produced trouble. The next card I'm seeing is the 5 of Pentacles, and this is very clear. Loss, isolation. Feeling unsupported. Doors not opening, a coldness around her circumstances. This does not have to mean one dramatic event for everyone. For some, it will be a social loss. For others, emotional. For others, financial or practical. But the point is, the energy around her is not fertile right now. It is not warm. It is not protected in the way she assumed it would be. She stepped out of alignment, and now she is feeling what that costs. The card around you here is the Sun, and I absolutely love that because while she is dealing with consequence, you are dealing with illumination, restoration, and the return of strength. The Sun says you are not meant to stay in the shadow of what she did. You are not meant to stay confused. You are not meant to stay emotionally trapped in that story. No, your energy is rising out of it. Your clarity is returning, your name, your peace, your spirit, all of it is being warmed again. And I think that is part of why this trouble feels so strong around her, because she wanted your light affected. She wanted your energy lowered. She wanted you burdened, but instead you are being brought back into brightness while her own path is becoming heavier. That reversal is very loud in this final part. Then we have the World, and this is beautiful because it tells me a cycle is closing. Spirit is putting a ring around this lesson, a boundary around this chapter, a finality around the attack. So no, I do not feel she gets to keep touching your energy forever. I do not feel this pattern continues without end. This feels like closure through consequence, completion through truth, ending through divine correction. The final card I'm seeing here is Justice again. And that is the confirmation. This woman is in big trouble because the scales are being balanced now, fully. Clearly, without confusion. And Spirit keeps saying, let that be enough. You do not need to become obsessed with her downfall. You do not need to chase proof every day. You do not need to force exposure before it's time. What is owed is being handled. So the biggest message for this final part is this. The woman who plotted against you is now facing the full weight of her own choices. The cycle has turned, the truth has risen, the burden is on her now, and divine justice is closing this chapter in a very real way. You are not abandoned in this. You are protected, you are being restored. And what was sent against you is no longer free to move without consequence. Your peace is coming back to you, so keep your spirit clean, keep your energy lifted, keep moving forward, and let the truth finish what it already started. Like the energy this woman sent out has now completed its circle and is arriving back at her door in a way that cannot be ignored anymore. So yes, this really does feel like big trouble, not exaggeration, not drama, consequence. The first card I'm seeing here is Judgment, and wow, this is the card of reckoning, the card of the wake-up call, the card that says what was buried rises, what was denied speaks, and what was delayed is now being answered. So what I'm getting is that this woman is entering a period where she has to face what she did on a much deeper level. Mental agitation, the feeling that something is not right because something is not right. You cannot attack from shadow and then expect your spirit to remain quiet. You cannot operate through hidden spite and expect inner stillness. It does not work like that. Her own energy is disturbing her now. The truth may show through her reactions, through over-defensiveness, through inconsistency, through emotional outburst, through the way she handles pressure. Because when someone is carrying guilt, fear, and a collapsing lie, they often reveal far more than they mean to. It is like every nervous move she makes now keeps telling on her. even when she is trying hardest to look untouched still. The card around you here is the Star, and I absolutely love this because while she is moving through reversal, you are moving through restoration, healing, renewal, protection after strain. So if this situation